Shalom to you and welcome. In this video, we will look at the law of sines. We have law of sines and law of cosines. So this video will show law of sines only. So we'll introduce the law of sines and prove it, and then use it to solve problems, especially when you know two angles on one side, either ASA or AAS. Two angles on one side. So why is this relevant? Well, we use the law of sines and law of cosines in finding unknown sides and unknown angles of non-right triangles. We know we can use Pythagorean theorem or SOHCAHTOA to find right triangles, to solve right triangles. But how about when you have, in real life, you don't always have right triangles. Seldomly do you even have right triangles. So that's why we need to know the law of sines and cosines, because they help us to solve problems that are not right triangles like these ones here. So the law of sines says if you have an angle, the sine of an angle and the side opposite that angle is equal to the side of another angle opposite that side. There's always three sides and three angles in any triangle. So that's, angle A and B and C, and the sides opposite them. Or you can flip it. You can have the sides on top and have the angles at the bottom, as long as you keep the proper proportion, you keep the order, you don't mix them up. That will be fine. Okay, let's prove it. The law of sine. Supposing we have angle A here, and we have angle B here, and we have angle C. And so the side opposite angle A will be A, and this side opposite angle B will be B, and this will be small c. Now, in your previous geometry proofs, we've learned that sometimes we need auxiliary lines to help us prove. So there's nothing we can do here except we have a right angle. So we are going to draw an auxiliary line to find the height of this triangle. So, and the auxiliary line perpendicular, so name it height. And that can help us also find the area of this triangle, because we need the height and the base. So it doesn't matter which side you draw the height, So, but if we have drawn it from angle C to side C, to find this height, trying to find this height is going to be, we can use sine. Sine of angle A is opposite over hypotenuse. Now, because this line is perpendicular, and then B becomes the hypotenuse of this right triangle, because we have created two separate right triangles. And so sine of angle A, sine of angle A is going to be equal to opposite, which is H, over hypotenuse, which is B. And if we solve this, solve for H is going to be cross multiply. You get B times sine A. So do the same thing on this other side. If we want to find the height again, from this other side is going to be sine B. It's going to be opposite, which is still H, over now the hypotenuse is going to be A, over A. So solve for H. H is going to be A sine B. If we cross multiply, now we see that H is equal to B sine A, and H is also equal to A sine B. So H is equal to H. Therefore, these two expressions are equal to each other. So we can say that A sine B is going to be equal to B sine A, because both of them equal H. Okay, and this is the law of sine. This is it, and this is one way to write it. But to write it in the ratio form, divide both sides by A and AB. Divide both sides by AB. So if we divide this by AB and divide this by AB, and it will cross out, we just have sine B over side B equals and then B we cross out here. We have sine A over A. And that's the law of sine. And this is, we did it because we drew the side. We drew the height from C to side C. If we draw the side from A to side A, we can do the same thing we did here using, so we can bring in angle C and side C, and it will give us the same thing. So that will imply also that sine C is going to be over C, is going to equal this. Okay, so that's the law of sine. It's very, very simple. Now let's use it to solve problems. Solve this triangle to the nearest. So again, it's when you know two angles and one side. That's what we're doing. We know two angles here and one side. So you can start with the side you know. The side you know the angle. So we know angle A and side A. So we sure use that. So sine A over A. And then we know side angle C. So we're going to say sine C over C. So we don't know C, but we can find it. At least we know these three. So sine A is going to be sine 27 over 9 equals sine 72 over C. And then we cross multiply. We cross multiply, C is going to equal 9 times sine, that will be there. 9 times sine 72 divided by sine 27, which will be approximately, they want us to round to the nearest tenth, which will be approximately 18.9. 18.9. Okay, and then we can find angle B. We know that the sum of angles in a triangle is 180. So therefore, angle B is going to be, let me see if I can change the color here too. So angle B is going to be 180 minus the sum of 27 plus 72, which is 180 minus, those are 99. So angle B is equal to 81. Okay, and last, we're going to, now we know angle B is 81, then we can find we can use that to find B, yeah. So we can use side A and angle B and to find B now. So it's going to be, again, let me try to change to another color. Okay, so sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. Okay, so sine A is going to be sine 27 over 9 is equal to sine. Now we know what B is 81. So sine 81 over B. So B is going to be cross multiply this 9 times sine 81 over sine 27, which will be approximately 19.6. Okay, and that we have found all the missing sides and angle. That will be solving that triangle. Right. Why not pause the video and try to solve this problem on your own, and then you check back at your answer. The first thing you want to do is find we're looking for the distance here, this A here. We know angle A we know side B, but we don't know angle B. We know angle C, we don't know side C. So we have to find one of them. But we can find angle A easily because we know angle B easily because we know two angles. So 180. So we can find angle B is gonna be 180 because 3 angles in a triangle equal to 180. So 180 minus angle A plus angle C. So angle B is going to be 180 minus, if we add those two angles, angle A is 31.10 plus angle B is 112.9. And this is 31. Sorry, that's messy. Okay, let me erase it a little bit. All right. It's fine. Okay, angle B is going to be just 180 minus, I've added those two numbers together, they come 144. So angle B is going to be 36. And now that we know what angle B is, we can do sine A over A equal to sine B over B. And we are looking for A. So side A is going to be the B, and that B is 3. That we're going to cross multiply that. So it's going to be B times sine A over sine B. Okay, so now B is 347.6 times sine 31.10, then all divided by sine 36. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode when you type this in, and then simplify them. You're gonna get 305.5 feet. It's rounded to the nearest tenth. Okay.